Hello, good morning. It is nice to see you guys here, and I would like to say thank you for your guys watching this presentation. First of all, I would like to introduce our member. My name is Veroni Palkar. Then we have Nindi Septiani. The other one, Siti Nabillah Suci Amanda. And the last one, Assyifa Mulandar. And today, we will show and explain about the regional analysis report in North America. So, let's begin.
Introduction. Now, as you can see on the screen, there is the map of North America. North America is the third largest of the world's continents, lying for the most part between the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Cancer. North America is bounded on the north by the Arctic Ocean, and on the east by North Atlantic Ocean, and on the south by the Caribbean Sea, and on the west by the North Pacific Ocean. And the next one is we're gonna explain about the climate of North America. On the previous slide, we already explained about geographical structure, which is very impactful to a climate of one specific area. North America has a continental climate. This variation is only partly due to the range of latitude the continent spans. The overall shape and elevation also influence the climate. Although large, North America is very compact. The only extensive areas of open water are Hudson Bay and the Great Lakes. Now we can see on the screen there are two pictures of Grand Canyon. I believe there is nobody who doesn't know about this Grand Canyon. I mean, like, it's very legendary and iconic. Everybody knows about this one. Grand Canyon in Arizona is a natural formation distinguished by layered bands of red rock, revealing millions of years of geological history in cross-section. Vast in scale, the canyon averages 10 miles across and a mile deep along its 277-mile length. Much of the area is a national park, with Colorado River, white water rapids, and sweeping vistas. And for the further information, the North American climate is produced by the height of the air that crosses it, called dry continental polar air lies over northern Canada, and sometimes move south in winter, producing cold waves that reach almost as far as the Gulf of Mexico. Hot, dry continental air lies over Mexico. It tends to move north in summer. Cold, moist maritime polar air enters the continent from both the Atlantic and Pacific. That is why the Grand Canyon is very, very iconic, the most beautiful spot for traveler to go to spend their holiday.
Alright, so let's move to the organization based in North America. Alright, so what is NAFTA? NAFTA was the world's largest free trade agreement when it was established on January 1, 1994 among Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And NAFTA was the first time to developed nation sign a trade agreement with an emerging market country. And NAFTA's purpose was to encourage economic activity among North America's three major economic powers, Canada, the US, and Mexico. Proponents of the agreement believed that it would benefit the three nations involved by promoting free trade and lower tariffs among Canada, Mexico, and the United States. So this is the history of NAFTA. NAFTA legislation was developed during George H.W. Bush's presidency as the first phase of his Enterprise for the Americas initiative. The Clinton administration, which signed NAFTA into law in 1993, believed it would create 200,000 U.S. jobs within 2 years and 1 million within 5 years because exports play a major role in U.S. economic growth, and the administration anticipated dramatic increase in U.S. imports from Mexico as a result to the lower tariffs. So let's move to the additions to NAFTA. NAFTA's provisions were simply impacted by two other regulations. the North American Agreement on Environmental Cooperation, and the North American Agreement on Labor Cooperation. These tangential agreements were intended to prevent businesses from relocating to other countries to exploit lower wages and more lenient worker health and safety regulations and looser environmental regulations. And then we have advantages and disadvantages of NAFTA. NAFTA's immediate aim was to encourage cross-border commerce in North America, and it did indeed for trade investment among its three member countries by limiting or eliminating tariffs. And then from the beginning, NAFTA critics were concerned that the agreement would result in U.S. jobs relocating to Mexico, despite the supplementary NAALC. In fact, and many companies did subsequently move their manufacturing operation to Mexico and other countries with lower labor. However, NAFTA may not have been the reason for all these moves. And now we have the pros and cons about the NAFTA. The pros is a spurt surge in cross-border trade and investment, and then increased competitiveness of U.S. industry, opened up opportunities for small businesses, implemented universal higher health, safety, and internal standards. And the cons is caused loss of manufacturing jobs, especially in certain industries, and then increased inflation in the U.S., increased U.S. trade deficits, and may have spurred Mexican immigration. And then we have the killing news about North America. Hidden abuses overhaul use election laws in fire speech. In an impassioned speech, he said he is for the changes that will allow his voting reforms to be passed without the support of opposition Republicans. Misgivings from two senators in his party are hampering his plans, and Republicans have backed them. As you can see on this list is the bills: the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Investment Act passed the lower chamber, the House of Representatives last year, and the former would introduce standardized nationwide voting rules as opposed to the current patchwork of state-by-state rules, the John Lewis Act. Meanwhile, would require the same states to obtain government permission for any change to election regulation. He said, to protect our democracy, I support changing the Senate rules, whichever way they need to be changed to prevent a minority of senators from blocking action on voting rights, the president said in a speech in Georgia on Tuesday. And Biden's sweeping plans unlikely to pass. Joe Biden is making a renewed push for voting legislation, but the prospect for success haven't changed much since congressional Democrats first advanced the current package of proposal back in January 2019. They are dim, and the reason should be familiar to this White House. Either Democrats need to attract Republican support in the Senate, or they must change the rules to allow the slim Democratic majority there to approve the legislation on its own. Neither seems likely, no matter how many speeches Mr. Biden gives.
Okay, the next is environmental problems. Okay, the first is central silt. The central silts, named the Canadian or Laurentian silts by geologists, consist of low plateau averaging about 1,500 feet or 500 meters in elevation. That is tilted at its edges and is almost depressed at Hudson Bay, its center. It has a rock surface of old worn mountains and dams the rise above plate, geologically Asian basin. The shield represents an area that has undergone extensive erosion and sculpting by ice and weathering processes. Greenland also was a main center of glacial advance and retreat, while Quebec in western Canada was an important secondary focus. Much of the shield has been scraped bare by glacial erosion, like smooth bare bedrock surface. The next is temperature. The warm temperature zone. On the southeast coast of the United States, the warm temperature zone extends to the Mississippi River and over Gulf Coast. Like the zone is strongly influenced by the warm, moist tropical air mass that originates over the Gulf of Mexico. In July, averages are tropical with highs exceeding 80 Fahrenheit or 28 Celsius. Because the landmass is intensely heated, frequent thunderstorms dot the landscape in this region, especially in early summer. Hurricanes are a novel hazard along the Gulf of Mexico and up the lower Mississippi Valley. Okay, the next is the tropical humid climate. Central America, with its tropical humid climate, has no real winter. Like even the coldest month averages above 64 Fahrenheit or 80 Celsius, with summers of 80 to 82 Fahrenheit or 27 to 28 Celsius, the mean annual temperature range is lower than the usual daily range, a characteristic which is markedly different from most of North America. Rainfall is ample and regular with 45 to 80 inches, where the easterly trade winds blow onshore. The valley, however, often are quite dry. Summer hurricanes frequently occur, causing much damage. Okay, the next is storm track. The Atlantic coastal plain becomes a storm track in winter as tropical maritime air contests the advance of the continental air from the north. Okay, the next is air masses. A winter creates intense cold, heavy air masses to carry sub-zero weather as far south as the Ohio River Valley and possible overflow into Appalachians and penetrate into the Rocky Mountains. It can produce deadly frosts in the Central Valley of California, Texas Gulf Coast, and Central Florida. In spring, this air mass is warm, humid, and unstable. Conditions such as drought in the Great Plains in summer and for mild weather in the Great Lakes region in autumn. Okay, the next is history of North America. History of North America encompasses the past development of people population the continent of North America. The first record of European travel to North America began with the Norse colonization in the 10th century AD. In 985, they founded a settlement on Greenland, an often overlooked part of North America that persisted until the early 1500. The second is with the age of exploration and the voyages of Christopher Columbus starting 1492, Europeans began to arrive in the Americas in large numbers and to develop colonial ambition for both North and South America. Okay, the third is conflict over resources on North America entered in various wars between this power. But gradually, the new European colonies developed desire for independence. Revolutions such as the American Revolution and Mexican War of Independence created new independent states that came to dominate North America. The Canadian Confederation formed in 1867, creating the modern political landscape of North America. Okay, the fourth is from the 18th to 21st centuries. North American states have developed increasingly deeper connection with each other. Although some conflicts have occurred, the continent has for the most part enjoyed peace and general cooperation between states, as well as open commerce and trade between them. Okay, the next is historic cultures. The first is indigenous cultures. The first North Americans are believed to have migrated from Siberia in the Northeast Asia by crossing a land bridge over the Bering Strait. And this population fanned out southward to present-day Florida, California, Mexico, and Central America. The second is the Inuit, native to the Arctic. They believe the amazing light, and Inuit also believe that all things have souls and the spirit existed to protect the souls. And the third, the Olmec and the Maya culture, built the first cities on the continent, eventually leading to the great urban areas of Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan. And the cities in what is now central Mexico boasted sophisticated engineering structures such as canals, apartment buildings, and irrigation system.
Okay, the last content. We will discuss about sub-regional in North America and their economic activities. North America is divided into 3 states, namely the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The first one is Canada. You know what, guys? Canada, with the real name Dominion of Canada, is the northernmost country in North America. The kingdom is divided into 10 provinces and 3 territories, following a decentralized system. Canada was founded in
1867 following the passage of the Confederation Act. Ottawa is the nation capital. The office of the Governor-General, Prime Minister, as well as the nation parliament are located in the city. The 1982 Constitutional Act recognized three main groups of indigenous people in Canada: Indigenous, Inuit, and Métis. Indigenous people are growing almost twice as fast as the rest of Canada. Canada uses two official languages, namely French and English. This proves that Canada is the territory for the two European countries. Canada is famous for its cold climate. Winter here can be quite harsh in many areas, with risk of blizzards and ice storms, and the temperature as low as -50 degrees Celsius in the north. Canada economic activities. Most of Canada's industrial goods manufacturing industry is located in Ontario and Quebec, where motor vehicles production is the largest sector in the industry. Other important manufacturing sectors include food and beverage, paper and similar production, base metal, manufacturing metal, petromedical, and chemical. The main export is motor vehicles and their spare parts, machinery and equipment, high-tech products, oil, natural gas, metal, as well as forestry and agricultural products. The main imports are industrial machinery and equipment, including a variety of communication and electronic equipment, automobiles, and motor vehicles parts. The second two subregional is United States. United States, a federal constitutional republic consisting of 50 states and federal districts. You know what, guys? Even though New York is the most recognizable country, but Washington DC is the capital city of United States. English language is the de facto language used by the United States government. Spanish is the second most spoken language. The geographic location of the United States in the Northern Hemisphere results in the rotation of four weather conditions: fall or autumn, winter, spring, and summer. United States economic activities. For agriculture, nearly 47% of the land in the United States is used for agricultural land. The type of agricultural land there are like rice grown in California and Georgia, vegetable grown along the Atlantic coast. Farm. The type of livestock that are cultivated include sheep raised in prairie area, especially in Texas. Industry. The textile industry in the fortification of the foothills of the Carolinas and Georgia. Fisher. Fisher are cultivated on the large scale in the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. The third one subregional is Mexico. Mexico is made up of 31 states or estados and the Mexican Federal Territory or Distrito Federal. Mexico have the same capital that is Mexico. Mexico doesn't have an official federal language, but linguists have identified the 12 main Mexican languages. There are Nahuatl, Maya, Zapotec, Mixtec, Otonomi, Sextal, and Tzotzil. Mexico has two seasons, rainy and hot. Generally, low rainfall in the interior and north rainfall is abundant off the east coast, in the south, and on the Yucatan Peninsula. Economic activities of Mexico. First one is agriculture and plantation. Mexico is the land of origin of cocoa, grown in the south of the isthmus of Tehuantepec. Second one is mining. Mexico is the largest silver producer in the world. Mining areas are in Guanajuato, Tasco, and Pachuca. Next, ranch. In the mountainous area of Mesa Central, where cattle, poultry, horses, and pigs are raised. Next, forestry. Mahogany wood in Sierra Mid Occidental. The next activities is fishing. Sardine, tuna, and shrimp found in the Gulf of California and in the Gulf of Mexico. Next, industry. Textile industry in Mexico City and Puebla. Steel industry in Monterrey, Las Cruces. The last is trade. Mexico's main export commodity are silver, crude oil, copper, and agricultural products. Imports include machinery, raw material, and food.
Thank you very much for your great attention and for your listening, and may all those we have shared be beneficial for all of us. Goodbye.